It's crazy to think that World War III can actually happen in our lifetimes, and it should be a wake-up call to all of us, especially if you're Muslim. Now listen, this is not the time to slack off, right? Because even though we have all the conveniences in the world, right? This is like the easiest time of our lives in, human history. The Prophet ﷺ warned us of a time like this. So you can't afford to be weak anymore. The stakes are just too high. So what can you do to actually become strong and to become capable and to actually protect yourself from any harm? You need a couple of things. And first, and obviously most importantly, is your strengths in religion, so your iman. This is at the center of everything, is at the center of your success, because remember, success doesn't come from your own action, even though that's what we all love to think. Success only comes from Allah, and it comes from Allah because of your action, not because of your action directly. And people without strong iman, and you could probably see this from yourself, maybe with people you see in the world or your friends, they become so susceptible to every single desire, like things like materialism, hedonism, or, whatever else you can think of. If you have low iman, you're probably going to be, a subject of that. And I mean, think about Meta right now. That VR stuff, you've probably seen in ads and maybe, Muslim videos talking about it. It's scary because 98% of the population is going to be addicted to it. When it comes out in 2030 or 2040 or whenever, it's going to be something that's so an addiction that everybody's going to fall into. So you have to ask yourself, do I really have that strength to not fall into that? And if your iman is too low, you're never going to be able to overcome any addictions because you just don't value your religion high enough. And if you don't value your religion high enough, you're going to value your pleasures and, things that you just want right now over your religion. So to strengthen your iman and your religion, the most simplest and most efficient advice I can give you is to gain knowledge by reading hadiths and Quran. So start with something simple, like maybe just read a hadith a day or read verses with translation and, tafsirs to actually learn what they're saying. And do that daily and, just build it up and be consistent with it. The next thing is discipline and willpower. And you probably heard of these things, but you might not know what the very subtle difference between them is. Basically, discipline is doing things that are hard, right? Doing things that you don't want to do, whereas willpower is stopping yourself from doing things that you do want to do. To be successful in the modern day, you need both. You need discipline and willpower just because of the amount of influences and pressures there are. If you don't have the discipline to click off a YouTube video, then you're never going to be able to, build a business or build financial success or really success in any realm that's worth anything. Also, in terms of preparing yourself for difficult times, I'm talking about the overarching things that kind of build your character. So you could say things specific like having financial resources and being physically strong. Of course, those things are important, but I'm talking about the overarching things that are part of you. So for example, your discipline. And if you're disciplined, you're naturally going to, that's going to lead to you being physically strong and having financial resources and all of those specific things. The last thing you need, and this is super important, is the right information. Because everybody knows, right? You could be the hardest worker in the world, but if you're, working at a 7-Eleven or you're working a dead-end job, even if you're the hardest worker, you're going to get nowhere. So you need to understand the content you're consuming because, in the modern era, the content you consume is the information you get. So by selecting the, good content and specifically choosing the content that's beneficial to you, you're going to have, a lead miles ahead of anybody else. So I want you to think about this. And this is something I heard, which is so true, which is think about your Instagram or TikTok or YouTube feed, and then think of what a billionaire would see, right? A billionaire's YouTube feed. Yours and his is probably completely different. So how do you ever expect to, reach that point? And of course, that's the example of monetary success, but it's the same with anything, right? For example, religious success. So you need to watch what content you consume. And honestly, this is such a powerful thing because to, become better at a certain area, it's as simple as watching more content in that area. If you want to become more religious, just watch more Muslim lectures. And that way, it's not necessarily going to just increase your iman right there, but it's going to lead you to gain more knowledge and prompt you to do more good deeds. So instead of watching these useless entertainment videos, figure out content that is tailored to you and tailored to your goals that could actually, you could actually benefit from watching them. So these 3 things are how you become a strong Muslim. You have to have discipline, you have to have willpower, you have to have strength in your iman, and you do that by gaining knowledge. And of course, you have to have the right knowledge. So I hope you gained something from this video. Assalamu alaikum.